Hey Leo, welcome to your yearly 2019 Sidereal Astrology forecast. All right, so this year there's going to be an emphasis on two key areas for you. One is going to be with Jupiter in your fourth house, making it a great year, particularly up until November, in regards to expanding your worldview about home, maybe family, the past, and for some of you, your health. So some insights about this and maybe feeling a bit free-spirited and adventurous around this area can perhaps create some opportunities with them. Now, along with this, Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node are in your fifth house of self-expression and your passions in life. So there might be a bit of a serious energy here around this. There likely was a bit last year as well, but just continuing to work at your refinement of your self-expression and passions, how these things do take work and discipline and time, and also maybe even facing some fears with some of this. And with the South Node and the eclipses, releasing. There's likely going to be a lot of releasing here that's going to help really transform your self-expression and your passions. So Uranus is going to be shifting into Aries for the next 5 years. This is going to be your ninth house. Probably feel this around April. So definitely moving forward, spring onwards, maybe some new and different things involving travel for some of you. Higher wisdom, higher learning philosophies can be quite exciting. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, Leo, so here is your chart for this year. Now, we are only looking at the outer planets, as you can see here. This will give us a simplified look of the overall theme of the year for you. If you do want a more specific look, do check out the daily forecast that I do, which looks at the fast-moving planets as well. But yeah, and you'll also notice too, the signs are different than mainstream astrology here. So if you are new to the channel, definitely check out that link down below. And make sure that you do have either your sun, moon, or ascendant in Leo sidereally in your sidereal chart. So if you're new, check that out. There's also a birth chart calculator down there to see what your sidereal signs are. All right, Leo, so let's go ahead and start with January because a lot of things kick-start the year that month. In fact, the two aspects we have and the solar eclipses are all starting in January. So the first being January 5th, we do have a solar eclipse in this fifth house. So great time to early in January to see what are some things that, or maybe some patterns you may have regarding that self-expression or your passions. Are there some patterns here? And to be aware of them. And it's simply through that conscious awareness of any of these patterns or concerns or default modes that as you become aware of, you'll naturally want to release. There'll be this natural releasing process, and all of you will be letting some things go in regards to this area. And the purpose for it is to really bring balance to your self-expression and your passions in life. And so great to do this around the solar eclipse, can be very freeing and very transformative for you. Now regarding the lunar eclipse, which will be January 21st, this is going to be in your 12th house, really finalizing a lot of this maybe lessons you've learned this past year regarding receptivity or getting your alone time or the importance of rest or, again, just having a bit more peace and acceptance in your life. Also maybe creativity. Whatever has been this kind of receptive stuff you've been developing, this could be the culmination of it, final integration of it at the end of January. And I would say it's just good to do a bit of a status check and finalize some of these things involving spiritual development or more peace and receptivity in your life. All right, so let's go and look at the rest of the eclipses and then we'll come back to the aspects starting in January. But the next set of eclipses will be in July. And once we get to about April, as we approach July, the North Node is going to shift into Gemini. And so you'll likely notice there around that springtime, likely a shift into a new life path direction regarding maybe connecting to your friends or network circles, or maybe some of you might be doing things that are more contributing to things larger than yourself, like causes or humanitarian stuff. Some of you may be getting into technology, innovation, things on this level, and maybe simply others just feeling inspired about your future aspirations, future hopes and wishes. All this future-oriented stuff really starting to shift, where it's just great to learn about it April onward. Make mistakes with it, try new things with it, group stuff, aspiring stuff with that North Node there. Now, once we do get to July, then we're going to have the solar eclipse, July 2nd, involving the North Node. So this will be likely when the new beginnings really start to come in. So I would say early July, great to set some intentions here, if you're guided to, regarding some of these future-oriented things or group-oriented things to develop for the remaining 6 months of the year here. All right, and then the lunar eclipse will be July 16th, which will be in, again, Sagittarius. So this is where some things can come ahead that maybe started earlier in the year in January regarding those passions and self-expression. Okay, so good to do the status check. You'll likely also become aware of some things at this time, again, maybe regarding some patterns, maybe with Saturn regarding some self-limitations, might be releasing, maybe even some fears, right? Releasing some fears with Pluto so close to the South Node this year, right? And so this is going to really help shift and transition this self-expression area for the remaining 6 months of the year here. But do see what does start in early January, because that will be an indication of what is coming ahead and coming to its highest manifestation here in July. All right, so those are the eclipses, but since the eclipse seasons are now starting to get into the right on the new year time period, December, January, we will start to feel the next set of eclipses at the very end of December. And this is going to be a solar eclipse in that Sagittarius. Whoops. So at the very end of the year, there could be a whole new journey regarding your self-expression. By this time in December, Jupiter is going to come into that 5th house. And so you won't just have that more serious, self-limiting kind of energy or deeper energy with these 3 planets. You're going to have Jupiter in here by December, and it's going to help inspire you, I think, a bit regarding maybe, again, this creative side, self-expression, your passions, whatever it is. And so the solar eclipse will be in a very close conjunction to that Jupiter, suggesting maybe a newfound sense of spirit, newfound sense of inspiration regarding some of these things that, again, you're cultivating and bringing more balance with here in your life this year. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to January so we can take a look at these 2 aspects that we have this year, because they're going to start in January and go for pretty much the whole year. And one is going to be Jupiter squaring up to Neptune, and the other one's going to be Saturn sextiling up to Neptune. So both major aspects involving Neptune this year. This is likely going to place a lot of emphasis on your relationship sector, where with Neptune in your 7th, it's been so important, I would say, for like the past 10 years for you to incorporate that receptive approach to your relationship sector. So being receptive about relationships, surrendering what's outside of your control, being present about the area, and then incorporating more, receptivity and acceptance in your relationships and existing ones, spiritual energy, seeing how everything happens in divine timing, this ebb and flow here. So a really good year to cultivate this. And with the square to Jupiter, there could be this sort of dreams and ideals you may have, maybe about relationship stuff, maybe about home and family stuff. Again, that's probably where you're going to be quite hopeful, or can be hopeful and inspired this year with home, family, personal life stuff. And so it's a great year to really, with the square, to ground it, because squares to Jupiter can sometimes be we just feel good or we're kind of in the clouds about it, but we really do want to ground it. So what are some intentions you can set this year that constructively incorporate your relationship life with your personal life, or your home life with your relationship life, right? Setting these intentions is really good. Now with the sextile with Saturn, a little bit more minor to this, this is a great time for taking this kind of like constructive approach to your relationships, how things do take a bit of time, and it's about building it. But where the real building is taking place is with yourself, with your self-expression and your passions in life, and how as you work at these things and develop these things, for some of you it's creative, others it's business, whatever it might be, whatever it is that's your passion you're taking seriously, this constructive approach is actually very supportive to your relationship life. And as you, again, bring in that receptivity into your relationship life, you'll probably find that quite supportive to your inspiring, your passions in life and these sort of matters pertaining to self-expression that you're developing. All right, so those are the two aspects that we have here, and Uranus is going to be leaving Pisces for good in April and going into Aries for the next 5 years. So this is leaving your 8th house. If some of you notice that over the past 10 years, if there's been some erratic energy involving the deeper dimensions of life, matters pertaining to life and death, beginnings, endings, any deep stuff that's been kind of erratic or unexpected, a lot of this is finalizing and finishing up, and there could be a finalization in April. Now, where it's shifting is into your 9th house of travel, adventure, philosophy, higher knowledge, higher wisdom. And so Uranus is going to help really mix up this area. Try new things. Some of you getting into like unique, different travel, different things there. New philosophies, new ideas, new perspectives about life can be actually quite exciting. In fact, Uranus is much more comfortable in Aries and in the 9th house, I would say, relative to the 8th in Pisces. So there's a bit more of the easier Uranus energy to work with collectively, and for you, invoking that with your spirit for life and your adventurousness and your philosophical side, being willing to listen to your excitement about these things and try some new things and create some change with those areas. All right, so Leo, that is the year in a nutshell. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. Now, down below, there is a 20% discount if you do want a personal reading for the year, looking at the year personally for you. But yeah, have a great one, Leo. Thank you again for all of your support, and I will see you all next time for the daily forecast. Take care.